but normally I don't talk on tax bills, but this is, obviously when we pass a tax bill, it becomes the central bill of the session. And this is the only real opportunity for the minority to talk about the totality of the budget. And this is not to speak in any way in any negative tone relative to the work that Senator Chamberlain has done, the members of his committee. There are many good things in this bill, some things I don't like, but many good things. But I do want to talk for a couple of minutes, members, about the direction we're going in, because I do think there are some significant problems to where we are with the state budget. There is no question, as we've listened to people on the floor, people in committee, I don't think I've ever seen, during the time I've served here, a member of the Senate that doesn't like to spend money. Some people like to spend money on tax cuts, some people like to spend money on social programs, but we end up spending money. But what happens when we spend money unwisely or putting ourselves in a difficult position is that ultimately we end up in deficit. And I would remind members that we're in the period, the longest period of post-war expansion, economic expansion. And that suggests, just the rules of economics would suggest that possibly we run into deficit, some type of a recession, mild or otherwise. But I do think there's some problems with where we are in terms of the budget. And I would particularly offer my comments to the new members of the Senate. I think I said last week that there were 28 people that had come to service in the legislature, House or Senate, since 2012. I think I miscounted. I think there are actually 29 members of the Senate who are totally new to the legislature since 2012. That suggests a significant part of the Senate has not had the experience of going through deficits. It's tough. I don't care what your ideology is, your geography, or your party. It's tough. And I would suggest that when we look at some of what we have in front of us, there is that possibility. Let me go back a little bit in history to what I think was the single worst mistake that the legislature has made during the time I've been here, and that's in 2001. When Jesse Ventura was governor, we had a proposal to take the property tax levy, the school property tax levy, away, have the state pay for it. Governor Ventura's original proposal was to make sure that roughly $1 billion was paid for, and he pulled his punch and signed a bill without that. And what happened? The following year, 2002, we began to run the 10 years of deficits. Now, I don't think in this case that we, right now, absolutely face a deficit, but I want to explain why I think there is that danger with what we passed today and what we've passed off the floor. We have a budget that relies in significant ways on shifts and on one-time money. Now, those are budgeting techniques, and I think in this bill, we've talked about some of that there is some one-time money in this bill. Those are budgeting techniques that we use at a time of deficit. We don't use those techniques when we have a $1.650 billion surplus. That's not the way you're forced to budget when you have that kind of money available. Yet that's what we're doing. And so two things happen when we do that. If the money's unsupportable, we potentially go into deficit. If the economy sours, we potentially go into deficit. Or in the alternative, we are providing illusory promises to people in this state. And I would suggest, when members look at what we've done over these last several weeks, as an example, the premium bill we passed in January, the reinsurance bill we passed last week, that's approximately, if I'm not mistaken, $860 million of one-time money that's illusory to the extent that it doesn't continue. And if anybody on this floor thinks that Washington, D.C. is going to take care of the individual markets for the country, I would suggest what happened 10 days ago would belie that thought. And so I would suggest that when you take a look at other parts of the budget, I mentioned those as significant parts, but we also have, when we hear the Human Service Bill, we have some shifts, I think a combination of, and we'll have some discussion about it, but a combination of, I believe, a managed care shift and a hospital rebasing shift. So when we start doing that with these large bills, with the tax bill, with the insurance premium bills, with the Human Services bill, that's when we put ourselves in some difficulty. And it's not to suggest that the minority has been perfect in these regards. Certainly, if you look at 2011, when we had a $6 billion deficit, that deficit, I think we had some suggestions as to how to better handle it, but we would have utilized shifts. Again, we were in a period of deficit. That's not the case now. Now, I will point out that the budget, the totality of the Senate budget, as it's either passed off the floor of the Senate or as it's passed out of committee, is structurally balanced. In 2021, we have a balance of, I believe, something like $307 million, irrespective of what we just went through on the Senate floor. But I would offer the contrast, if I might, members, to where we've been before with the budget. When we adjourned last year, we had a structural balance for 16-17 of $620 million. We had a structural balance for 18-19 of $922 million. Our structural balance right now for 18-19 is almost minus $500 million. And like I said, the structural balance for 2021 is only a little over $300 million. But there's another side of the equation, and that's the part that we don't pay as much attention to. When a budget forecast comes out, we look at the number. We have a $300 million surplus. We have a $200 million deficit. We have a $1 billion surplus. We don't necessarily look at what's below those numbers. And I would draw members' attention to the economic forecast book. The Division of Economic Analysis within MMB, I think, is a spectacular division of state government. It's one that provides us with the information we need to make long-term decisions. And I just want to look at a couple parts of what was said. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read the book. It's online if you don't actually have a copy of the book. But what it says in the forecast book, and it talks about the IHS economic projections. IHS handles projections for all states, but it's pointed out in the book that the IHS projections in this case are somewhat more optimistic for the future over the next couple of years than other economic indicators like the blue chip consensus. And what it suggests in the book, and I read on page 12, forecast risks. Even aside from U.S. policy uncertainty, there are risks inherent in this forecast. And it goes on to talk about the economic recovery in its 8th year. But it also indicates that there are several key forecast assumptions. And what IHS incorporated into their forecast of our projected surplus for the next 2 years was that it assumed the new administration's tax and spending proposals. They assumed the passage of a stimulus package. They assumed the passage of a significant tax bill. If those things don't happen out of D.C. in the next year, we are probably assured of being in deficit, because that's what the IHS numbers are built upon. I would also suggest to members that you ought to take a look in the forecast book at what the Council of Economic Advisors suggested, because their statements were even stronger. And what they said was that there's considerable uncertainty about which federal policy changes may be enacted. And they said, moreover, the February outlook of IHS depends on the absence of trade wars and serious policy mistakes this year. IHS has incorporated, as I just mentioned, but they also cited into their February outlook the impacts of federal personal and corporate income tax cuts, increased infrastructure spending, and a hiring freeze for federal non-military employees. The Council of Economic Advisors suggests and states very clearly that when looking at the forecast that we have, the budget that we have in front of us, it warrants extreme caution Extreme was the word used. I don't think I've seen that word before in these forecasts, other than the period of extreme recession. Extreme caution when using forecasts for 2020 and 2021. And that's coupled with the fact that we have now taken money away from the budget reserve and have less money to work with if we were to fall into any type of deficit. I would suggest, members, that when we look at the totality of this budget, we keep in mind the long term. Not the long term for 10 years or 5 years, the long term for a couple of years. I think, members, that when we look at this forecast, we have assumptions from Washington. We have references to where our economy is. And I'm fearful, keeping in mind, I'll repeat myself, this is the longest post-war economic expansion. Whether it be the normal rules of economics or what happens in an absence of action out of Washington, we run into difficulty. I was trying to think, members, what the proper metaphor might be. Okay, I'm not the first person that's happened to. So I've tried to think of the proper metaphor as to where we are. And I think, although we look like we might be on firm ground, we're kind of betting on the future. So there's almost an element, members, of a poker hand in what we have in the budget. For those who don't play, if you get 5 cards of a single suit, that's a flush. So if you're playing a hand of 7-card stud and you have 4 cards of the suit, 4 to the flush, after your 4th or 5th card, you start betting on the come. You bet and you bet because you think you're going to pull that 5th suit. And the catch is, if you don't pull that 5th card, you go bust. And members, my concern is, what we've got in terms of our budget, we've got 4 cards to the flush. And for the sake of the state of Minnesota, I hope we pull that 5th card. Otherwise, in a couple of years, when we're doing this budget again, we have the potential to bust.
Senator Marty.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to address point that Senator Gazelka said at the very, Senator Chamberlain said at the very beginning when he was talking about the reason for the tax cuts in the bill. He was talking about how our business climate is so terrible and we're losing businesses left and right. And everybody's got their own numbers. Forbes magazine, best states for business. Minnesota was 15th and Wisconsin was 27th. And I know somebody will find some other numbers say differently, but Forbes magazine saying we're twice as highly ranked as Wisconsin might say something that we're not in a disastrous situation. Then maybe Senator Chamberlain thought as well, it's been good, but it's going to sink fast now and everybody's fleeing the state. I remember back in 1980 when the Chamber of Commerce was saying, you know, will the last business fleeing Minnesota turn out the lights? Decade after decade, you know, now it may have been good in the past, but everybody's fleeing the state. And he gave several examples of businesses fleeing the state. And I think we're still #1 in per capita number of Fortune 500 companies. We're still doing well economically compared to surrounding states. So I would say that this fear that everybody's leaving the state, again, even if people leave the state, if businesses leave the state because of taxes, there are other businesses, either they're growing here or they're expanding here because one way or another, we've got lower unemployment rate and we're doing well in a number of ways. So I think it's very important to not overstate this fear of everybody fleeing the state when there's been the warnings from the Chamber of Commerce and others for 40 years now. And if they were right at one point, we would be a very poorly performing state, and we haven't been. Second point I wanted to make is budgets are about priorities. And today, it's easy to vote to cut taxes for people, but in Finance Committee, watching every author of every bill come in, and we wish we could do more. Elderly waiver and human services, we wish we could do more, but we were going to shift that out a couple biennia to make till it really kicked in, and then they realized that was really bad budgeting policy, and that came out. In E12, well, we wanted to do more for school funding formula. We wanted to do more for this program or that program. Wanted to do something maybe for judicial salaries and funding the courts. Wanted to do something other than actually cut Minnesota Security Hospital in St. Peter, which is dangerous for the people working there. The CCAP program couldn't afford to fund childcare. All of these things we are told we have to do because the chairs have to live within their budget targets, as if that's some remote thing that is just handed down from on high. Well, this is where the budget targets place the money. And I think getting back to the discussion we had at length earlier today about how you help kids who are at risk in schools, and we are, as Senator Champion pointed out, we are cutting funds to those two programs in Minneapolis, despite what Senator Nelson said, because we didn't have the money in the education target. Instead, we're giving $35 million in tax credits to people who are giving our money, basically our tax dollars, to private schools. But it's a matter of priorities. So the main point I wanted to make about it is that we're putting a lot of money into this, and then every other budget can say, well, we tried the best we could, but this is all we could do in this climate. We got a $1.6 billion surplus, and we're cutting the Minnesota Security Hospital. I think we're making some bad choices here and urge your rejection of the bill.
Senator Rest. Senator Rest. I have it on my list.
Mr. President, I am fully informed and prepared to vote.
Senator Gazelka.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I'll be brief. Just a couple clarity points, though. When I hear about Minnesota having more Fortune 500 companies than anyone else, we have to remember that those companies started here, their corporate headquarters are here, but much of their expansion went outside of Minnesota, and we need to be aware of where those jobs went. And secondly, when I hear places like CNBC deciding what a business should decide is good and what ranks a business climate, I mean, that's like the former Soviet Union saying Russia is the #1 place for capitalism. It just isn't so. But this bill is about finishing unfinished business. We had a decent tax bill last year. Many of us voted for it. It did not get done. We're going to get that done today and in the House and hopefully before the governor. But it's a series of unfinished business. We had the health care collapse that we had to bail out. We passed a jobs bill. We passed a transportation bill for roads and bridges that we haven't had since 2008. So it's a series of things that we're doing to finish unfinished business. And one other comment about the $1.65 billion, a number of people said give it all back. Give it all back. But we looked at the things that we actually have to spend money on. Shoring up the healthcare collapse cost us almost $900 million. Fixing our roads and bridges, about $500 million. And then what are we going to do with the pensions? That's, I don't even know, hundreds of millions. So point is, we don't have money everywhere, but this tax bill is targeted. It's a growth and opportunity bill, and it will advance Minnesota.
Senator Chamberlain.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Again, before I want to bookend this because it's so very important, thanks to the amazing staff to do what they do and stand here all day and listen to us yak and do our dance. So thanks to them a million times over. Again, we have challenges and opportunities. Senator Cohen talked about it. Be aware, we are aware of those challenges, those challenges we face, but we do have opportunities. As I mentioned at the outset, demographics, migration, and baby boomers, and pensions. So in the end, it's about who decides, members. Demographics are destiny. And to the extent that Senator Coe and I understand things and get along, oh yeah, these are our numbers. We can't run away from the baby boomers and those retiring. We can't run away from the labor force shrinkage and the challenges that the state demographers pointed out. You don't have to listen to Chamberlain. Go to the state demographer's website. Members, that's the biggest challenge we face. This is the most serious challenge we face. So can we continue to spend money and not get a good return on that in all these programs and all these things we do? Without looking at some reforms everywhere, but with this particular bill in taxes. Who decides? Who's best to decide who spends that money, invests it, and where to invest it? I am not so smart and so all-seeing to think that I can command all the pieces of society and culture and community and families and make all those choices for them that drive our economy, that create these things that we have, these amazing, this amazing, blessed life we live in this state. Yes, we have challenges, and we can't run away from the demographics. We just can't. It's the biggest problem we face. The labor force, and unless we do something to supercharge and spur this economy, it is going to be very, very tough. And the politicians, the bureaucrats up here don't have enough hands to manage all those levers to make it right. We've seen it many times, most recently with the health care issue. And we'll hear it coming up. So it is my humble belief that we have to address this through broad-based tax relief. Minnesotans have gone 17 years without any relief. And many people in this chamber, all they want to do is go back to the Minnesotan. Let's say the forgotten man, the proverbial forgotten man, and keep shaking him down until that pot gets smaller and smaller and smaller. You don't have to listen to Chamberlain for the numbers. We know what they are. Go and look at the research. People are leaving the state. Businesses have left the state. We are fortunate because we have 20 Fortune 500 companies in this state. That is what keeps us afloat. But we're losing people and businesses, both valuable and irreplaceable. So 17 years, and I don't think we're asking a whole lot to give $900 million back to people. Again, this impacts everywhere, farm to city, Main Street to urban core. Every Minnesotan in this state would be impacted, every citizen. They would see some relief. The rate reduction itself impacts 2.1 million people. And I believe it was Senator Rest made mention earlier that some of these items we have in the bill, some people and small businesses and farmers might see multiple layers of relief. Well, good, wonderful. It is the private sector, the individual, the person on the street going to work, the carpenter, the cop, the nurse, that drives this economy, that drives this state and keeps it going. We should just think about them more, the proverbial forgotten man that we keep thinking we have to go back to every time. The spending in this state is unsustainable if we continue down this path. I know we've all heard it before, but may I mention again, demographics are destiny. We cannot run away from that. So again, members, thank you for the debate. This tax bill, I believe, as Senator Gazelka mentioned, is unfinished business. It was what we had to finish from last year. This is a solid bill with relief for everyone in the state. Small businesses, farmers, yes, and sometimes large businesses. Entrepreneurs, the man in the garage making oil pumps. Judy, who came here all those years ago and had the opportunity to start her own business. The two people I met from the Ukraine who lived through Stalin and then Nazis and then Stalin and then got out and came to this great nation and were able to start. He went to school to be a dentist and she ran the office. So that's all I look at here. Opportunity for all Minnesotans, opportunity for this state. They will raise us out of this problem and allow us to face these challenges and continue in the future and be solid and viable and take care of the people we need to take care of, our elderly, the pensions, and others. So members, again, thanks for the debate, and I urge a green vote. Thank you.
The Secretary will take the roll on House File 4 as amended. All members having voted, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 40 ayes and 27 nays, the bill passes and its title agreed to.